There's a split inside every one of us between who you are and what you do. Most people never address it. Not because they're weak, but because they don't even realize that that split exists. We live in a world where identity is constantly reinforced by that one question. I know you've heard it. It's, so, what do you do? And over time, without noticing it, a lot of us adopt the same script. We say, I am a ... right? Followed by some job title or whatever it is. But here's the truth. Jobs change, roles change, industries evolve. And if you tie your identity to what you do, the day disruption comes is the day you feel like you lost yourself. Most people don't go looking for this distinction on their own. They don't see it early, right? They don't understand it abstractly because the realization usually comes through a rupture, right? So what type of rupture am I thinking about and talking about? I'm talking about a layoff, a career change, an industry shift, a major life transition. That's the moment when someone says, I feel like a part of me is gone. And then it hits them. They weren't just doing a job. They were anchoring their identity into it. They didn't know this was happening because nobody around them challenged it. In fact, society just basically reinforces it, right? That same question. What do you do? Or who do you work for? Or what's your job title? Or what's your business? People don't address the identity job fusion until something breaks. Here's a personal story. I experienced this firsthand when I stepped out of a stable job role to build my own business. Immediately, the structure changed, the income changed, the environment changed. And I found myself wrestling with that same internal question, right? Who am I without this role? I remember talking to a friend as we were considering taking a minimum wage security job just to stay afloat. He said this to me. I remember he said, this job does not define me, right? This job doesn't define me. And that clarity stuck with me because it named the real issue. Most people don't know that they're conflating their identity with work until life disrupts the illusion. Here's the ethical principle. It is your responsibility to build an identity that can survive the rupture. Leaders, your boss, or whatever, they can reinforce it. They can model it, but nobody can do the inner work for you. You must separate who you are from what you do long before the disruption forces you to do so. Because the rupture is coming for everyone eventually, whether it's through change, through evolution, through innovation, through AI, through circumstance, right? The question is whether you're prepared for it. Here's some context with AI. This matters in the age of AI because people fear AI because they think AI threatens them. But AI can't replace your identity. It can't replace your character, and it can't replace your purpose. AI replaces tasks, not your selfhood. The fear only feels existential when someone has built their identity on job duties instead of who they fundamentally are. Again, that's not a tech problem. That's an identity problem. Shared responsibility. For leaders, it is ethical to reinforce this separation, to remind people that their dignity is independent of their job title. And for you, individuals, everybody, it is ethical to own the separation, to build a resilient identity that won't collapse the moment the job role changes. So leaders, support it. Individuals, well, you must practice it. The inner work. The inner work looks like this. Understanding your values apart from your job. Developing a purpose not tied to a paycheck. Building character that outlasts any job title or any business title. Positioning identity on internal ground, not external conditions. This is how you avoid being shattered by the rupture. When you get laid off or transition careers, or when AI automates a task, or when the business you did is no longer viable, or when your entrepreneurial venture goes down the drain, right? Or even when these things are successful, by the way, because that could be a rupture that causes you to conflate your identity to what you do. In either one of those circumstances, when you follow these types of instructions that I've been discussing, this helps make sure that you don't lose yourself. Look, here's the ethical charge. Do the work now. Don't wait for the rupture to teach you the lesson. Jobs evolve, Businesses evolve, if you own your own business, whatever. Industries transform, tools shift, but who you are must remain rooted in something deeper. Leaders can reinforce that truth, but each person must build it for themselves. Because at the end of the day, you are more than what you do. And if you don't realize that now, life will come along and teach you through the rupture.